How could anyone have anything bad to say about Sunday school, right? Isn't that where our kids learn their Bible stories? Isn't that where devoted Christian adults continue their Bible learning? Well, maybe. But a cold, hard, objective look at the net effect of the traditional Sunday school approach might reveal there are some serious traps we're falling into, some pitfalls we haven't recognized. Something that's presumed to do so much good might actually be doing some pretty significant harm. So let's slow down for a minute and look at 4 potential traps we're falling into. Just based on the fact that I've said there might be some downsides to the typical way we do Sunday school, no doubt some people have already clicked out of this video. But I actually feel sorry for those people because if we're not willing to examine ourselves, to challenge the things we've become comfortable with, we're not going to mature in our faith or be transformed by the renewing of our minds like we're instructed to do. So, as uncomfortable as it may be, let's take a critical look at this Sunday school thing. A look at 4 traps, 4 pitfalls that we're likely to stumble into. The 4 traps are: 1, we get too comfortable rattling off the politically correct Sunday school answers. 2, we leave our Bible study up to somebody else. 3, we teach our kids what to think, but not how to think. And 4, we delegate teaching our kids about the Bible to those Bible class teachers. Let's look at each of these briefly. The first is what I refer to as the Sunday school answer. This is where we've learned how to offer a nice sounding answer during Bible class, but don't go much deeper. We don't actually slow down long enough to think about if we're really living that way. We've provided a nice sounding answer to the teacher's question. So let's just move on before some further self-examination gets uncomfortable. After all, I get my points for going to Bible class and answering the question right, don't I? Whenever I think of this, I think back to my high school years. The Sunday school teacher was presenting the lesson and reached a point to ask a couple of questions to see if we were paying attention. He asked my buddy that was sitting next to me a question about the lesson. Well, my buddy wasn't paying attention. I mean, like, not at all. Which is probably why he was the target of the teacher's question at that moment. The teacher called him by name, asked the question, and he, without hesitating, said, "We should do good things." Let's be clear, he had no idea what the lesson or the question was about, but how could the teacher argue with an answer of doing good things? That's a reliable Sunday school answer. Now, it's easy to point at a high school kid and dismiss this as high school tomfoolery. But the reality is that this isn't restricted to kids. The same thing goes on in adult Bible classes every week. Rattling off some nice sounding answer, but never slowing down enough to really examine if that's the way we're living. The second trap we fall into is leaving our Bible study up to someone else. I'm busy. Between work, kids, house chores, etc., I run out of hours in the day. But not to fear, that nice gentleman at church has agreed to teach the Bible class. So I can take advantage of his Bible study during that 45-minute class once a week. I mean, that's better than doing nothing, right? I remember when I was serving in church leadership, and a couple came to me and told me that they didn't care for the gentleman we had teaching one of the large adult Bible classes. They explained that he expected people to do some Bible study during the week in preparation for the class. And that if you didn't do it, you oftentimes had trouble keeping up with what he was presenting in the class the next week. They said they weren't kids in school any longer and didn't think it was appropriate for him to be giving adults these kind of homework assignments. Really? You can't find 15 minutes to read a chapter in the Bible and answer a couple of questions, prepare for Bible class? Your whole week doesn't have 15 spare minutes? This structured, formalized, just show up and take a seat approach to Bible study has made way too many of us lazy and superficial about spending personal time in God's Word. The next two traps are focused on our kids, and I'll go over them pretty quickly. The first one is that our Bible classes are focused on telling our kids what to think, but failing to teach them how to think. We pump them full of stories and church-approved answers, Sunday school answers like we just talked about. But what have we done to help them develop a personal relationship with Jesus? Or to think through how to deal with the trials and temptations that they are going to inevitably run into. They may be able to rattle off some nice-sounding answers, but can they really deal with the issues coming their way? Why is it so easy for over 80% of the kids raised routinely going to church to walk away from church within a year of graduating from high school? Maybe it's because we've pumped them full of Bible stories, Bible history facts, and superficial, nice church-sounding things to say, but haven't actually helped learn what the role Jesus is going to have in their lives. Maybe we've kept them occupied for 45 minutes on Sunday morning, but haven't done enough to make Jesus and the Bible a part of their lives for the other 167 hours each week. And that brings us to our fourth and final trap. That trap is that too many parents delegate teaching their kids about the Bible to a Bible class teacher. A Bible class teacher that they may not even know very well. And depending on the size of the church, they literally may not know them at all. It's not the system's responsibility to teach kids. It's the parents' responsibility to do that. Deuteronomy 11:19 says it so clearly. You shall teach them to your children, talking of them when you're sitting in your house and when you're walking by the way and when you lie down and when you rise. This one little verse sums up so clearly that it is the parents' responsibility to teach them the things of God. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that all a parent needs to do is take their kid to a weekly Bible class. And yet this structured, institutionalized approach has made it so easy and convenient for parents to do just that. I'm teaching my kids about God and the Bible. I drop them off to Sunday school almost every week. What a terrible trap we've fallen into, shirking our parental responsibility for our children. I'm not saying not to have Sunday school, or maybe I am. When we slow down and think about these unintended consequences, these traps, these pitfalls of approaching our Bible study in this institutional way, the negative impacts must not be casually dismissed. We cannot delegate our own time in God's Word to some Bible class teacher. We must not delegate the teaching of our own kids to someone else. We must not only have nice sounding but superficial answers to the question that life throws our way, thinking that some nice sounding answer is a replacement for a personal relationship with Jesus. Is this topic uncomfortable for you? Because it sure is for me. In Matthew 7:21 through 23, Jesus tells a group of people that have been doing a bunch of church stuff to go away because he never knew them. I worry that our approach to Sunday school may be heading a lot of us to that kind of an outcome someday. When the way we do things leads to these serious unintended consequences, maybe it's time to consider changing how we do things. I certainly think it's worth considering. Thanks for listening. God bless you on your journey.